Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you. But today I'm not really getting into any sort of topics or anything. This is not a sponsor video. I'm just going to talk to you about a few things that people have asked me over the years and kind of explained what I just kind of dealt with and why I didn't have some videos up here now for a short amount of time. I try to consistently post every couple days. I'd like to stay on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule if I can. But I do my best to stay consistent. But over the years, many of you have asked me and seen that I had a bump on my deltoid here, and it was pretty decent sized. And I would always get questions, even people like Googling constantly, Dylan Gemelli shoulder. So that's why I wanted to just address now. So I put it off for years and years and years. I had what is called lipoma here in my arm here, and so recently it started to get a little bit bigger, and I was in Maui for my stepson's wedding, and I went to a massage therapist one day out there, and she had seen it and was talking to me about one of my main concerns, because what it is called a lipoma. All right, it's like a benign fatty type of tumor type of deal, and so it's something you can leave in there. It's not going to harm you or anything. I had it looked at several years ago after I, first kind of saw it. My family, it kind of runs in the family. Although I am going to tell you, I do thoroughly believe that I caused it. Injecting into my delt, it's way, way, way too much. Doing exactly what I tell people not to do, and not only overusing it, but trying to inject way too much oil. I was injecting 3 cc's into my delt like a complete and utter buffoon, with Primobolan as part of that back then. Just stupid that I know better then. And what I believe is that I caused major scar tissue buildup or hit a nerve improperly, because the doctor was speaking to my wife after the procedure and told her it was something nerve induced or caused. She didn't really relay it to me very well, and I didn't speak to the doctor after, and I'll explain that why as well. But she was just worried about me with the surgery and everything. But I do believe that I caused it. However, it does something that's run in my family. I've had what's called wens in the top of my head, removed, and they're like little fatty tumor things that grow into your head, and if you don't get them taken out properly, they can grow right back. So anyway, when I was in Hawaii, she was talking to me and telling me how easy, because one of the reasons that I didn't go, if I'm just being brutally honest, is you see all the tattoo work I've had done, and I was just terrified of ruining this with scars and cuts and things. And it's probably stupid because my arm looks so fucking stupid to begin with the big lump in it, and me not wanting to get into it with anybody because it's just ridiculously looking. But anyway, it got to the point where I was just so tired of looking at it, getting questions about it. It started to get a little uncomfortable. And after talking to her about, the chances of a scar being minimal or none, and how easy it was to do, it was like, fuck it. So as soon as you go on vacations and sometimes you see things clearly and you just want to go home and do it. And every time I go, I tend to have those moments. So that's one of the reasons I love the vacations, and I don't get to take them enough, because I get such good moments of clarity. But I think it's good to not take them too often also, because you're able to get those moments of clarity. Anyway, long story short, I came home, found out my insurance covered, because that was another thing. Back then, it was like, well, it's a cosmetic thing. I just went in and told them, hey, it's bothering me. It's starting to hurt. My doctor's very cool. And insurance is different now. They find it to be something that's a medical necessity now, more so than they did before, several years ago. So that was covered. That was great. Anyway, I go to see the doctor, who's supposed to be one of the absolute best, and definitely proved to be in this surgical field. Anyway, we looked at it. You come back. It was just a couple days, or that we had scheduled it out, and come back, go in. We're gonna cut it open. You don't even have to get just local anesthesia here. Numb it up, and you're fine. And I had gynecomastia removal here on my chest, awake the whole time. I don't get woozy. I don't give a shit about needles. None of that. Don't bother me. And my pain tolerance is pretty damn strong, as you can tell with the complete body of tattoos. Chances are you're not doing that if you don't have a pretty decent pain tolerance. So I go in, and my wife's with me, and she can't. She's very squeamish with needles and blood and everything. Sit down and get the Novocaine, whatever. I'm just kind of chit-chatting with him, and he's kind of doing what he's doing. Well, it's like not coming out, okay? And it's like I feel this pressure, and I feel this pressure digging into my arm, and I'm just like, motherfucker, like, okay. Well, then I can sense that he's getting a little frustrated. And he's like, and then all of a sudden I feel this like, whoa, and I'm like, I told him, I said, hey man, that fucking hurts, and he's like, he kind of pulled back and gave me more and went back in, and it just wasn't happening, like not happening like he thought. Well, apparently it was so deep in there under muscles and nerves. He said, there's just no way you're going to feel it. He said, I don't think anybody could ever take this. I said, fuck, get me out of here. Sewed me back up, and had to go back in a couple days to redo it, but I had to be sedated and, go through. You're not completely out, but you're pretty well out. I told him to cut the IV thing on me, though, because last time I did one of those, I was just water ballooned with way excessive water. I talked to the anesthesiologist. I said, dude, do you have to use all of that? He said, no. I said, can you cut it when it's not necessary anymore? I said, I don't want that. I had hernia surgery, and that was terrible. So went back smooth, easy. Probably in and out of there in terms of going back to the surgery and then waking up and whatever, 45 minutes. Now you got to go early, register all that, so maybe hour and a half total, 2 hours tops. But that was it. Now I wasn't supposed to do anything. That was a Tuesday I went in. They told me just take the rest of the week off. Don't lift anything, because I just wanted to do cardio, and I trust me, it was there the next, because once the stuff started to wear off, it was about midnight, because I kept telling my wife, I fucking don't even hurt, like I'm good, because she just kept, don't do anything. I'm like, this is nothing, like it's no big deal. Anyway, the shit wore off, and I was like, oh shit, and I went to bed, and I told her, I said, I'm fucking hurting. Then the next day it was like, okay, I ain't doing nothing. I worked on the computer a little bit, but I didn't even attempt it. And then the next day it still felt like I got punched. It was like the nastiest Charlie horse. But then Friday I told her, I said, I'm going to go downstairs because I have my elliptical and treadmill here. And I said, if I can't do it, I'm just not going to do it. Because now the older I've gotten, I don't do that anymore. So I went downstairs, no problem. Did my 10-mile run. I was good. Then I went back to lift Monday, although I was a little cautious Monday and Tuesday because it was still a little sore. So we're sitting at now a little over 2.5 weeks, and so the swelling there's still, it's crazy because I haven't been able to feel my regular arm here without a big ball in there, but there's just a little bit of a knot on the muscle there still, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like an almost normal looking arm now, and I don't have to look like a complete douche, and it's just, yeah. So that was the story of my shoulder, the full, accurate, full true story. That's what I just went through, what the reasoning was, probably my fault, not ashamed to admit it. I mean, I look pretty foolish and don't listen to my own advice, which I'm able to admit now, because that was, I was trying to do the math on when this happened, and I believe it was 2015. It was 15 or 16. I know for sure. And so, I mean, we're going on 6-7 years with this big thing in my arm, so it feels good. It's almost there. It's not quite there. And if you see, it's still a little bumpy there. It's still it's like right in the middle here. The muscles kind of still knotted up, but it's supposed to take about 4 weeks to really go down. So I'm not even close to that point yet. So I'm pretty happy with where it's at right now. But definitely, I was going like this, and there's just a ball sticking out, and it's gone. So that's the story of the deltoid shoulder surgery, whatever the case may be. So that being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli signing off.